All right, here we go. Three, two, one. All right, all right. Welcome to our second episode of Raw Dog Soccer. Hot takes, raw takes, all of the above. Quick mention. Our first video for all you 13 viewers. It said game week
13, baby.
13 viewers for our 13 preview when it was supposed to be 15. But
Crazy. Stop the count.
yeah, we fucked up first episode, but we're back to it now, reviewing the games from this past weekend. Oh well, we
Yeah,
make mistakes.
also just want to put out there that obviously World Cup is coming up very quickly. We will do one, maybe even two videos about obviously previewing the World Cup, who we like, what we think is going to happen, hot takes, all of it. There's fantasy this year for World Cup. There's a bracket challenge. We will both share what we have going, our teams, our brackets, roll through. So we might have to split that into two videos, but we're very excited about planning for that and putting that kind of content out with a very exciting sporting event our way. So yeah, let's dive into it. This past weekend, our takes were pretty mid. I would have to say.
I mean, they weren't too mid.
No, they weren't too mid, but I sometimes think it's funny after what happens, and I kind of look back at our video and I'm like, well, yeah, I could have gotten a little hotter there with that one. But
Well, you're pretty on the spot with this one right here. You thought Leeds were going to be playing. I thought you said
it took a very heroic comeback.
Well, no pictures in the scorecard. Little golf reference for you, but to start, we've got Leeds 4-3. And something I thought was funny. I was only able to catch the highlights, but the Somerville kid, Leeds went out and bought Sinistera, thinking, "Oh, we've got our winger now." Like this. And granted, he's been flashy, but he just hasn't been putting the numbers up. And then gets injured, and then they call on this dude who they bought back in 21, and he's got three straight games with a goal. I think he scored in the past three games, which is just little Holland dude from Netherlands. I don't know if he's gonna be in the World Cup team. He might be too young, but someone to definitely look out for.
But it's interesting. I like how Jesse Marsch is kind of digging deep in the pockets of the youth right now. Leeds play a very heavy style of kind of find all the good in the chaos, bring all the chaos possible and see what comes from that, which that's my personal favorite type of, if you were to call it a tactic or a style of playing soccer, that is by far my favorite. But you know what that does lead to? It leads to goals conceded from weird stuff. It leads to common red cards and suspensions, and it leads to a lot of weird injuries. Playing that kind of soccer, a fast pace, high press, we thrive in the chaos type of game. It leads to, it's risky. It sure is. And so that's why Leeds were pummeled by injuries last year. And this year, we've got some wild Leeds games. We've got some red cards. We've got some a lot of injuries again. So this one's interesting. And you see Jesse kind of digging into the pocket of the youth. There's an Italian kid named I don't think you pronounce the G in there, but I'm not sure. Gnotto. But anyways, I'm super high on that kid, Wilfred, and I think he's going to be an excellent player going forward for Leeds. He contributed to this 4-3 comeback. They were losing 3-1 at half. Super exciting game. Let's see.
Betting wise, you're pretty happy if you had the over, and it probably hit.
Sure.
I don't know what line you got, but in the 19th minute, it was done and dusted. But it was fun to watch. Good to see him come back. Good to see the classic Jesse Marsch celebration, like he was on the field scoring himself. But overall, probably a very good watch for a neutral. Moving on, we've got the Manchester City Fulham game. This was tracking to be what we said. We said a 4-0, 5-0, a classic Man City win. And I didn't think it was a red card.
This one was.
I mean, it wasn't a red card. I didn't agree with that. Maybe because he was in the box. For sure, a pen, no doubt about that. But obviously, any team against City goes down a man. It's pretty much kind of just a stalemate. Slows the game down. You won't really expect to see many goals. They're good enough to where the other team won't go off. But
I mean, it was crazy. City played the exact same way. Probably created just as many chances as they would have if they had another player on the field. Wild to me. the way that Pep has set up this team is just like anything that's thrown our way. It doesn't matter if you have an extra man. We're literally guys, nothing's changing. João
Well, look,
Cancelo, one of our best players.
they didn't make a sub until the 60th minute when they switched out
Right.
attackers. Like,
Yeah. He just went with the game flow.
because the
And of
way they're
course, you
set
got
up,
Erling Haaland coming in.
Cancelo's all the way up the field. So I guess instead of whoever was starting, um, it was going to get into Bruyne. Oh, Bernardo was that right wing. Instead of Cancelo being all the way up, it was just Bernardo drop back a little bit and just honestly, probably give Holland more space to roam around.
Right.
What do
Yeah.
you think? What do you think of that pen call on De Bruyne?
Um, yeah, I think that's one of the things that Kevin De Bruyne makes him one of the best midfielder in the world, in my opinion. Is he literally can't do anything. I think it was a penalty, if I'm remembering it correctly.
Just
To leave it
barely
hazy,
clipped his
but
heel. Yeah, just barely clipped
yeah,
it.
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like there was contact. There was contact, and he went down because of it. And one thing that people don't realize, I get frustrated too because videos, especially with VAR coming out, videos of penalty reviews are all plastered all over social
Hmm.
media, and there's so many wild, different sided opinions about them nowadays. And one thing that really frustrates me is when people are saying that something's not a penalty, or he went down easily, or there was like a smidget of contact. What people don't understand is that when you're playing soccer at this kind of level and you're sprinting that fast, any slight little touch is going
Imbalance.
to
Yeah.
throw your entire
Mhm.
balance and your whole body off of the train that you were on. I mean, it's like, I mean, if two cars were going extremely fast and one barely bumps another, that other car is fucking flying.
Yeah.
Like it's all physics, but it frustrates me when people are like, "Oh, he went down so easy." It's like, yeah, he was moving at like 15 miles an hour, and one little clip would, yeah, that would make you go down in a second too.
I agree.
Um, anyways, I do think it was a pen. I think City deserved this win, especially at having to change the game plan after João
Yeah.
Cancelo left, which they really didn't. They just continued to dominate the whole game. Um, yeah, I think it's a deserved win for City, and I think that if they didn't have that red card, I think it would have been 3-1, 4-1, 5-1
Yeah.
easily.
Did you see the that like, and it might even be way higher right now, but like the next day that 70,000 people had transferred out Cancelo of FPL and he's serving his ban in the midweek games.
Yeah, exactly.
Just the casuals. All right. Moving on, we have the Forest Brentford game, 2-2 draw. Again, I only
I
got to
didn't
watch
watch a
the
lick of this game.
well, I watched the highlights and it was just your classic. I mean, to be fair, Gibbs' white goal was pretty good, but it was just like a sloppy pass and a mistake here that led to a goal. It really wasn't that much of a like Gibbs' white goal. They cleared it out, and then or the guy they hit a cross and they thought he was offside, so the Brentford defenders just stopped trying. That pass back to Gibbs White, he put a nice little dribble and then just tucked it in, kind of finesse across to the back post and just celebrated. It was like, oh, we thought it was offside. It's like it didn't. And then Embuemo's pen, same thing. Whatever his
Yeah.
name is, Wisa or Visa,
He's a
however you pronounce it. He had a ball played in, and then they just stopped playing because they thought he was offsides. And then Henderson tackled him in the box. VAR reviewed it. He was onside. Is a penalty goal.
yeah. I see this as a win for Brentford. I know Nottingham Forest are last in the league, but getting a point away when you're Ivan Tonyless, uh, this Forest team is stacked, man. I will keep saying it. It's wild to me that they are where they are right now. This is a good team
Mhm.
on paper. I think this is a win for Brentford, and they continue to kind of pull things out of their hat. I will say, and
I can agree to
hey,
that.
Ivan Tony played midweek today in the cup game, and he scored, even though they are knocked out of the cup. But he's back, so I still like Brentford.
He's back from
Still
being
on him.
back.
Yeah, yeah,
Brentford's still in 11th place right now, Forest in 20th. It's
yeah,
obviously way too early to be worried because they're at 10 points in 20th place and then in 12th is lead with 15. So there's no big gap yet. There's nothing to worry about too much, but they really need to start finding some wins against these
yeah,
teams that you would think they could beat, because they have Crystal
yeah.
Palace coming up next, the end of the weekend. I don't know if that's a game they think they can get a win from because Crystal Palace is on some nice form, but not many two. Yeah, they got
Yeah.
Chelsea United following two after that. Yeah, so looking to get some points from Crystal Palace more likely. All right, the next game, Wolves versus Brighton.
Fun game.
I don't know. I've mentioned it to you before. I don't think I've done it on recording yet, but Matoma is that dude. He's
He
finally
is that
just
dude. I love my Japanese kids that
just
just come out of nowhere
mm-hmm,
all over Europe. Love it. Yeah,
mm-hmm,
he's good. He looked
mm-hmm.
good. Has looked good. And he just came over from Union in Belgium, where I mean, brilliant, absolutely brilliant partnership that Brighton has made with them. They've got a couple people on loan out there, just developing their youth out in Belgium for a really solid squad who plays exactly like Brighton does. Genius of them, and this kid just waltzes on over into the Premier League, and is just going God mode, I guess.
Well, it was
All
interesting
power
to
to
it
you,
was
buddy.
interesting to see because Wolves had like I think I mentioned in the last one that they are generating some good expected goals. And so you have to see them actually score some
Yeah,
goals today, even without Diego Costa starting up top. But pretty similar lineup from Brighton in terms of where they didn't have a recognized kind of central striker to play off of.
yeah.
Trying to find their average positioning right now.
Yeah, I bet 4 goals in the first half in this game. It was a huge win, so it's whatever.
I'm
I
on
did
Sofa
never
Score
do
right
that, by
now,
the
and
way.
their average positioning, they have basically two center backs. It's like an inverted 4-4-2. So they had March, Lalana, Matoma, and Trossard, just a flat line of four forwards. And then they had four midfielders and then two center backs. That's how there was average
Yeah.
positioning. I like it. They seem to put up some good
Yeah.
numbers. And then Welbeck, not that he's a bad player, but he is getting older and he would start on 90, but he wouldn't get a goal or assist. And I just think that hold up play is not going to be something you see Brighton try and run in the near future anymore, especially them scoring 3 goals away to Wolves, which is Wolves aren't always the best, but they usually kind of hold their own at home at least.
Yeah. Yeah, they lock it down usually. But again, this is a story of Wolves beating themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Nelson Semedo, red card right before halftime, 45 plus 5. It's like you had the game. You were tied at halftime. You were scoring goals.
It's
Your
0-0.
new players scored the first goal. It's technically 0-0. We hate that saying, but we
Yeah.
also love it sometimes. And then you just ruin it for your whole team.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pascal Gross, he bites you. So tough one for Wolves. So, but Brighton continue. Love that team right now. Tell you that. Oh God, I don't want to move on.
Yeah, here we go. This is the Everton fan himself. Let's hear your normal take, but then your hot take for the rest of the season on this after watching this game.
Hot take, not so hot. Frank's gone.
But not.
I mean, we're recording this on Wednesday after we just lost 4-1 to Bournemouth's B team. So I don't know. We're playing Bournemouth this weekend too. So oof.
I love how that works.
Um,
I do love like the random midweeks. There was a 3-game stretch, not this year, but the year before, I think, where we had City in the league, and then we had City in the cup. Oh no, you know what it was? We had City in the semifinal, the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and we had them home and away. And then in between those two games, we had them in the league. So we played City 3 straight games. I don't know if you remember that, but
yeah,
I love how those cup
fun.
games, those games work out.
Yeah, that's almost as good of a matchup as Everton Bournemouth. Yeah, I mean, James Madison just cut us the fuck up. He just pooped in our mouth and left. So it's tough. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is an absolute shell of his former self.
60 minutes. I didn't see that. Who came in for him? Oh, he got injured. Maupay came in.
Maupay. Yeah, he got injured again. He's going to be out for a while. It just poor guy. I mean, I feel for him. He was such a good player, and it's such an unfortunate situation. Dwight McNeil was really bad. I'm a big fan of the Dwight McNeil move when Burnley went down. I think that was a solid move. He's young. He was exciting. I think he's a good dribbler. He's a good shooter. His decision making has been extremely rough for us this season. He holds the ball for too long. tough. He played very badly. Idrissa Gueye got battered around by Sumare and Amarte. He just absolutely was dead by halftime. So Frank subbed him off. Owobi looked good. We looked rushed. We looked rushed. Not to mention Leicester's defense had a great game.
Mhm.
Danny Ward had a great
Sneaky
game.
Leicester XG conceded. Sneaky.
Sneaky liker. Sneaky liker. Yeah, no, exactly. Um, it's a tough one overall. I mean, it was just we had so many chances. They had so many chances. It's just that clinicality that Everton hasn't seen literally since I started following them like 12 years ago. So
Something I haven't been following actually is as I just think about that because James Justin scored today for Leicester in the FA Cup. Is I wonder because he's been playing left back. Ben Chilwell's
yeah,
down. Luke Shaw. I mean, I guess there's that narrative that Luke Shaw kind of has like a favoritism towards him, but Justin deserves to go. I think
I
so.
think he does too. I think it's unfortunate how stacked England are at right back. I mean, you got Kieran,
he's been
you
playing
got
left back though.
Reece. No, I know, but I'm just saying, like in that right back slot with Trent, Kieran, and Reece James, it's just like Southgate's like, Jesus Christ, sorry guys, like I can't play all of you. And then at left back, you've got injuries, you've got pretty thin. Luke Shaw is at lockdown. I think we will see Luke Shaw as the main starter. Um, I think James Justin is an easy second, especially given the form that he's in. We'll see what England's roster looks like coming out, but
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give him a whirl. He was he was a great favorite player of mine pre FPL season. I thought he was going to be a good asset, and then Leicester absolutely shit the bed in the first beginning of the season. So
I'm also blanking on any other English left back, but I think if there's one English player chosen from Leicester, it's going to be James Madison.
yeah, oh yeah, probably.
Right.
Yeah, he deserves to be on there. All right, move on.
Yeah, Sunday games. The first one, 6 a.m., Chelsea against Arsenal. Now, this one we both had takes on, and I am regrettably having to back in my take where I said that if Arsenal found a way to get a win, which was the first away win in the Premier League against the top six side, that I would now consider them a real deal. And
Yep.
I mean, Chelsea's not the best top six team, but they still went into Stamford Bridge, shut them out. I think
Yeah.
Aubameyang had 4 touches after that horrendous Twitter video he posted, and then Gabriel on Twitter trolled him saying like no worries or
yeah,
London is red or whatever he said.
right.
Perfect.
He said London is red.
But that's I mean
Yeah,
Arsenal are the real deal, and it sucks to say as being a Tottenham fan, but
yeah,
it was
they
all
are the
Arsenal
real
all
deal.
game.
This one for me was if Arsenal can come in here and get 3 points confidently, they're winning the league.
Yeah.
In my opinion. We'll see how they line up against City, but
I mean, any
look at
any
this.
other
I
team
mean,
on the top six, I need to see
right.
that as well. But as of now, if I were to pick a side, I'm on the side that they're going to win the league.
Yeah, I mean, look at the stats too. The
Mhm.
XG, the big chances, possession. Arsenal controlled the game in possession, which is very unlike Chelsea. Being at Stamford Bridge, more than a 2 XG. Chelsea barely even 0.3 XG. It's just, yeah. I mean, Arsenal's the real deal. I think Chelsea played like shit. I don't think they were set up correctly. I think Graham Potter got this one wrong, and I think it's on him. But still, yeah, Arsenal's a real deal, man.
The same can be said for City, but both Arsenal and City probably have pretty good odds right now. If you were to pick a future,
Sure.
I don't think. I mean, maybe Newcastle has a pretty good odds on cementing top 4, but I don't think they have a stand a chance to win the whole thing.
No.
All right, we got the next game. We got Aston Villa versus Manchester
This
United.
was a fun one.
Did you watch this? Because I was hoping you had.
I did. I watched
Okay.
this one. Yeah.
Before you get into it, I just want to say
yeah, it was fun right from the get go.
I want to say that
Yeah.
for those who play FPL, I was on Leon Bailey from the get go. It's great to see him return now. Obviously, I wish I still had him on my team, but I feel like this game should have ended 3-0. I mean, that Luke Shaw goal was such a fluke, just a crazy
Yeah, it
deflection.
was a
I wanted to
fluke.
know if there was if they created any other big chances besides that.
Yeah. Yeah. I struggled to remember it correctly, but They had a good amount of shots that
Mhm.
were blocked. There was one in particular. There was who was it? I can't remember entirely what happened, but it was pretty early in the first half too. Oh, it was a Rashford. It was a Rashford. I think it was just a Rashford curler. It was a great cross from Delo, I think, and
Classic,
Rashford barely missed. Barely missed. It
classic,
was probably the biggest
classic.
chance of the game. Yeah. Um,
But I would say going into this game, like when we were talking about on the preview, like you would think that United could, get a point from this game. I didn't know when we were recording that Sancho and Anthony were going to be out. Like once I saw this lineup, I thought, oh, this is going to be a little sketchy. Like sure, Garnacho had a good game
yeah.
previously, but in the Europa League, but I mean Van de Beek just back.
Yeah.
He's not a 10. It just that
Yeah.
it was
No.
trouble from the get go.
I was super sus of this lineup when I saw it. Lots of those unexpecteds. Yeah, I mean, you have to be sus of this lineup, especially when we know Ronaldo has been a plague this whole
Plague.
season.
Yep, Ronaldo's a plague.
Um,
You heard it here
yeah,
multiple times, not first, but multiple
yeah.
times.
Copyright Joey Davis on that one. He called that shit like even before Ronaldo moved to Manu.
Do you
um,
like from Aston Villa besides, Jacob Ramsey having a big game? Was there anything you like? Were they playing a
yeah,
certain way? 1-2 possession? What did you like from them?
I really like that. I think Unai Emery, his new go-to guy, Emi Buendia. I think
Okay.
Emi Buendia was
Okay.
brought in for a specific role that Steven Gerrard said, fuck you, I'm bringing in my little crown jewel, Philip Coutinho, and he is essentially going to do everything that we brought you in for. He's going to do it now, and he's going to do it very poorly and badly, but I'm going to continue to play him because I have a history with him. I
So
think that's what happened with Steven. And now Buendia, I think, is going to be a locked starter from now on. He's going to start in the 10 sometimes. He's going to start out wide sometimes. I think Unai Emery realizes this, and I think he's going to be a great FPL player going forward. In my opinion, he has been in the past. Um, he was my biggest standout. Was Emi Buendia.
so it wasn't a new manager bounce game. This is something solid that they can build off of. Would you agree?
I think so. Well, I am extremely high on Unai Emery as a coach,
Mhm.
just in general. I mean, he's such a solid tournament contender. He's such a solid game management, schedule management. From everything I've read and followed about Unai Emery, he's just a solid person that really he brings out the best in players that other managers just don't account for
Mhm.
or don't realize. And the way he structures his team as well gives them confidence because he's very good at locking down defenses. The way he structures his team, he's very good at essentially saying, we do not concede. And
Mhm.
if we do concede, we are on their ass the entire time. We should be up 1-0, but we're down 1-0. It's unlucky. That's the only time that we are conceding goals. We don't get dominated. He sets his team up like that, and it's very respectable. What he's done throughout Europe. So I'm very interested in this Villa team. They have a lot of talent. They have good
Yeah.
talent. They have good
They spent a lot of money
midfielders.
in
They
the
have good
summer.
wingers. Yeah, I think Ollie Watkins could use an upgrade. I have never been high on Ollie Watkins. Sorry, Ollie. I just don't think he's it. I think he's a great championship level player, but he's not consistent enough for me. If they buy a top striker that Unai really says this is my guy for the way that I play,
Mhm.
I think they could be an excellent, excellent team going forward.
I agree. I agree. Speaking of teams that bought some good players in and they're turning out result after result, we had the Southampton Newcastle game where Newcastle absolutely dominated them, just like they
Real
have at
deal.
every team in the way. That is two straight goals with, or two straight games with 4+ goals, 3 straight games with multiple goals scored. Any team in their way, they're just pounding. No questions
Yeah.
asked. Almiron did get his goal
Yeah.
too
I
as
mean,
well. He continued his streak. I will say, not necessarily lucky because they got a quick turnover in Southampton's half, the little 1-2 pass, and then Almiron had a one-on-one where he kind of just like body feinted and the defender bit and it went through his leg somehow and then had a good finish to be fair. But it's good to see that Newcastle are able to just to go game after game, continuing to put up numbers.
no. Yeah,
And
there's not much more. There's not much more to be said about this Newcastle team. I mean, they've had injuries too, and they're still pumping out the wins. Kieran Tripp, I think the defense upgrade was just huge for them. I mean, they hit it on the nail on the head with their signings. Kieran has been probably arguably their best player.
yeah,
Since this kind of revolution that they're taking. I think Sven Botman was an incredible signing as well. And then Nick Pope has always been an
don't
underrated.
ignore Dan Burn left back. Okay,
Yeah, my
I
man's
watched.
what,
Okay,
6'8" or something.
I watched him had multiple runs where he drove forward with the ball, like he was an attack, like he was Cancelo or something. It's crazy what confidence can do for a player.
Yeah, yeah.
And then FPL wise, the troll Callum Wilson was sick all week, and then started and then played
Yeah.
46 minutes or 45 minutes and got subbed at
Yeah.
half after what, 2 goals, 2 assists the game before.
Guess who brought him in?
Not me.
I did. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
Newcastle's going to keep rolling.
Oh,
ASM's back. He got an
yeah.
assist. He contributed in this game as well. I
He
think
was
they're
the
going to
fourth
keep
goal,
rolling.
right? Yeah, part of the fourth goal.
Yeah, he was an assist on the fourth goal. Yeah. Yeah, they're going to keep rolling. They're set up really well. I mean, there's not much more to look into it. Newcastle's it now, guys. So
I
get used to
wonder.
it.
I wonder if they are upset that the World Cup is happening because they are on this insane run. Okay, we got 10 minutes. They're on this same run where they have one game and then the World Cup. It is against Chelsea, which I fully expect them to win because Chelsea can't even score in general. And it's at Newcastle at St. James Park. So, okay, 10 minutes. We'll get through this really quick. The West Ham Crystal Palace game.
Yeah, we can zoom through this one.
We will really quickly. I wanted to mention that if Edouard is out next game, I would expect to see a similar flowing Crystal Palace. The previous games, Zaha has been playing so far out
Zaha
wide.
started at striker.
Zaha's been playing
I did
so
not know
far out
this.
wide. Mateta didn't even get subbed in. So if Edouard's out again, I would expect to see something similar. And then hopefully, if they do produce something similar, Vieira has no choice but to kind of play Zaha a lot more centrally because then they get the option of playing Elise. So they have Eze, Elise, and Ayu, and eventually Ayu will be replaced, but two young attackers and then Zaha leading the way. West Ham didn't stand a chance.
Interesting.
They didn't
From an
stand a
FPL
chance.
perspective, that's very interesting.
I will say the goal that West Ham gave up was for some reason Kerr was out wide. He was playing right back.
Mad about this.
He hit a ball back in just straight to whoever. Took a bad touch, and then Zaha was just like, "Oh, here's a free shot." And I was like, "You have to be kidding me!" But that's just the way it goes.
Palace does not score on the road too.
Yeah, but I'm saying if Zaha starts centrally again, do not be surprised if that is a continuous theme.
Yeah.
And then finally, we come down to that Tottenham Liverpool game. Man, my favorite. I love calling games correctly. And the group text me with KZ. I call it to be a 3-1, 2-1 Liverpool win. Running defensive lines of Dyer, Lenglet, and Davies there's no positivity that comes from that.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't it. I mean, at least he didn't start Davinson Sanchez, but still, I mean, this was tough. I mean, you guys had some great chances too. I thought Perisic had a really good game, playing in that very fun for FPL type of role that he just did. Mo Salah's back. This is a tough one because Jurgen is like experimenting with this team now. And of course, Jurgen Klopp is an incredible coach. He hasn't really had to be that good of a coach in like 6 years because his team was so madly good. But now that he's like forced to actually become a good coach again and really make changes and experiment, and he's doing it right. And you guys caught Liverpool at a dangerous time. That was unfortunate.
Their first away win in the Premier League, by the way.
Yeah.
There was two things I wanted to say though, because Jamie Carragher said after the game that, Conte is not the person to blame because he has success everywhere doing what he wants to do. If anyone, it's just
to continue. People blaming Conte?
Well, they're saying Conte out because he's continuing to run the same players over and over, but he wants to run a certain way, but it's not like he relies on confident, strong defenders who can make passes, who can make tackles, who can help build in the attack. When Romero's out. He's supposed to be our right center back. We have fucking Ben Davies still starting, who I remember becoming a fan of Tottenham in 2012, 2013, and like was on Tottenham's roster. Like he's been a great player for the club, but like if we get Bastoni or if we get whoever we've been linked with, like a player Conte wants, things will start to gel. And then even
Yeah,
then, once Kulusevski was subbed in, immediately creativity. Kane got the goal. Granted, it was a pretty good Kane finish, but nothing too
love that
special
man.
by Kulu. But
Nah, all Kulu.
all Kulu, that's fine with me because he's hype. But
He is
I think
hype.
we'll see a new Tottenham when they come back from the World Cup because hopefully Son will be healthy, assuming he plays in the World Cup. We'll have a healthy Kulusevski, and then obviously, well, assuming none of our players get injured at the World Cup, but I think we'll see a different Tottenham because we are expecting to get another player in the winter window. A lot of reliable sources are saying a central defender, a midfielder, and then a Kulusevski like for like replacement too. So fingers crossed on that. We have one game at home against Leeds. If we don't put up 3 fucking goals, dude, it'd be a perfect break. Not that it's already needed.
Jesse Marsh masterclass. Here we go,
Shut
baby.
the fuck up. I cannot wait to pummel him, see him celebrating in front of Conte. All
Uh,
right. So that is our review for the game week 15, not 13. Like Casey said, expect some World Cup content from us. I'm not sure how we'll do it. Maybe we'll do some reviews, like we'll do a group stage or a preview, like previewing the group stage, and then
I
once.
say we do three. I say we do three separate. We do a fantasy, a bracket. Maybe we can combine those, and then we just do kind of an overall
Well, we can do it
thoughts
like a
hype
preview,
video.
and review of the group stage, and then once all the turn like the knockouts start, we'll do a preview of that, and then obviously we'll review it once we have a winner of the World Cup.
No,
That's the way to go.
okay.
Um, I think this one went pretty well. If we
Yeah,
have any more viewers, hopefully there's a bump. Hopefully I get this TikTok working. Please chime in. Please message. Please comment. Whatever. Casey and I are very excited to do this. We look forward to doing this. This all comes naturally. Like I said, we wanted to do this for a long time. So hopefully you guys like what you're watching, and we'll keep on doing it regardless.
absolutely.
All right.
Echo everything.
Retweet. All right. Look forward
All
there
right.
for our preview episode. And for now, thanks for watching.